and most people don't ask people in the organization for advice. You're already doing that as well, which both are great. So what I would say is after each interview is done, I'd send a follow-up via video. And what I also would ask at the end of the first or second interview, normally there's another person that's involved in the next interview, right? So I'd be like, hey, great conversation with you today. Then you can ask the person, hey, who's going to be the next person that we'll be talking to? And then now as part of that follow-up, you can thank the person who you had the interview with. And then also the person you're going to talk to, you also will be sending them a video. So it's a very personal touch. So now that person's way more excited to connect with you at the next interview, and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we definitely have to talk to Kara in the next interview because you sent that video. So after the first interview, I always ask this and no one's ever prepared for it, but the response is gonna predicate like how well this is gonna go for moving forward. I just say, hey, and obviously you want to make sure there was a great conversation. I'm like, hey, this was a great conversation that we've had so far. Really have enjoyed it. Quick question. Do you have any concerns or hesitations on hiring me? Like
Yeah.
I asked right after that. And the thing is, I just to see do they hesitate? Because if they hesitate, then they have to try to come up with something. But if they answer pretty quickly, like, no, we're good. That means, again, I'm in good standing, right? Because I want to make sure that like we're both good on both of our ends, right? So I flip the tables on them. I'm seeing it as like, hey, I know what my value is, and I just want to see where you guys are at, right? This is another good one as well, because you want them to basically sell themselves on why they should take you. So another question I would ask is, hey, we've had a great conversation here so far. And quick question, where would you see me fitting in this team? And what do you feel like I can bring to this team that's unique than everybody else? So that gives them to be like, oh yeah, like here's a couple things that make you unique. Here's a couple things that I've seen that you've done this interview. So like now, like they are basically selling themselves on why they should bring you in without you having to really say anything. Okay, so from there, once you have gotten those questions answered, that will then predicate what your video is going to be. So let's say that, you interviewed me and you told me, hey, these are a couple things you thought were unique, like no concerns or whatever. Then I'd follow up the video and be like, hey, Kara, thanks so much for interviewing me today. Really enjoyed the conversation. Could tell you guys have a really great vibe and culture over there. And here are the 3 things that like I got out of the interview and what I really liked about your organization, X, Y, Z. And then I'd be like, hey, looking forward to the next interview. What do I need to prepare to make this interview frictionless for you and to make this decision easier for you? So I'm already asking these questions to prepare myself for the second interview. No one ever asked this stuff. Like, what do I need to do to prepare for the next one?
By the way. This is I wish there was like pyrotechnics or something going on in the background. Like, this is fire.
But no one asked, like, what do I need to prepare to make this frictionless and an easy decision for you? Because as a hiring manager, I interviewed over hundreds of SDRs. Some of those interviews were like, I had a toothache. I was like, yo, this person was not prepped. Like, what is this person talking about? And the thing is, like, every time I went into an interview, we always treated it as like friction. That first one, because I don't know what you're going to come prepared with. And also I could be doing a million other things. So if you ask me, hey, Morgan, like, how can you make this frictionless? Or like, hey, Kara, how can I make this frictionless? You're going to be like, oh yeah, come prepared with these things because you want to make sure that interview is easy for you. So there's all these different options you can do, which I would encourage you to connect with the person on LinkedIn right after the first interview. And all you would say, let's say if I was talking to you again, Kara, and we just interviewed, I'd be like, hi, Kara, thanks so much for the time today. Below is a quick video of my feedback from the interview and what my thoughts were. That's pretty much it. And you can change that language of what I said. You can make it more comfortable for you. You can add like 2-3 sentences. I wouldn't make it long, but that's the way I would do it. Hi, Kara, thanks so much for the interview today and taking the time. I made you a quick video to explain what I got out of this interview, and I'm looking forward to the next step here. It's less than 90 seconds or something like that. So connect, boom, you add something, and then most people are like, oh yeah, I don't have time for this, right? But if you come with something different, that's gonna allow you to do it. Now, I mentioned video. You can also do voice notes on LinkedIn as well. So you don't have to do video if you don't feel comfortable with it. It's fine, right? You can do either or, right? So I'm gonna give you 2 options. It's completely up to you. So what you're going to do in this video and voice note is you're going to say, hey, let's say I was reaching out to Tom, right? Let's say Tom's working at a company that I want to work out, but he's not maybe the hiring manager, but maybe he's another marketer that's there, right? Maybe he's in content marketing. So I'll be like, hey, Tom, reaching out because I've been looking at your company for a while. There's an open role here about digital marketing and be great for me to get involved with it. Do you know who's been getting interviewed for this role so far? I just want to get your feedback and just advice because I'm looking to apply it for myself. Can you help a fellow marketer out? Most people are going to reply to that and be like, oh yeah, like, sure, I'll help you out, Josh. Like, what's going on? And so you can either hop on a quick 15, 20-minute call, et cetera, or whatever that is.
Okay.
And so what you're doing there is you're going to be able to engage with people and network, just like you've been mentioning that you're doing. You're going to get advice and tips on how to reach out to this organization to get the interview. And what I would encourage you to do as well, be like, hey, Tom, this was a great conversation. Are there one or two people like you that I should meet in marketing? So you notice what I'm doing there is I'm getting more referrals to talk to people in marketing. So now I can just start building my network of marketers I'm talking to that could possibly get me a job. They may just like talking to me and be like, you know what, Josh, I'm actually the VP of marketing over here. And I want you to come on, right? And sometimes it's not just the interview process where we get jobs. It's, hey, I know you. I like what you're talking about here. Let's do it.
Sure.
When you send someone like a voice note or a video, always ask for feedback. So if I send something to Tom and he didn't reply, but hey, Tom, any feedback on my voice note? Or hey, Tom, any feedback on my video, right? To get them to engage and respond to me. And I feel like if you're able to get that information from people internally on, hey, if you're qualified, not qualified, or how to approach it, I feel like those interviews will go a lot better if you have people on the marketing team coaching you on what to do. And for people that don't have as much experience, I found when they're able to get the job is they just ask for advice from people in that organization on, hey, this is what you should say, this is what you shouldn't say, so they can coach you in the right direction. I think I would start asking another question on that close-ended question, but like, hey, and just be upfront. Hey, I know that my experience might not be directly aligned with what you will normally interview. So my question to you is, how can I make this decision easier for you and make it feel more comfortable and safe for you as well? I think asking that question is something that I would start leaning on. If people are saying, hey, I don't feel as comfortable hiring you, and there's another safer option because their experience directly aligns, I want to go ahead and just figure that out now. And if there is something I can do, they're like, yeah, you know what, Josh, you're right. However, here's a couple things you can do between interview 1 and interview 2. Then I can provide the right resources for them to make it feel comfortable. Because here's the thing. Now, you are now at an advantage because the person who has the exact experience isn't thinking about this. They're like, oh, I got the experience, so I don't need to ask these questions. Now you're going to come more prepared than the other person. They're going to be like, whoa, okay, even though you don't have the experience we're looking for, you just were more prepared and you brought something that was completely off the table and it was really impressive. So now we want to work with you. I call it out like, hey, I looked at the job description and there's a couple of responsibilities. I pull out a notepad on the Zoom, like, hey, I have this written down. That would blow them away. They'd be like, you wrote this down? Because again, most people don't do that. Hey, I wrote down a couple of responsibilities I think I could cover. And I just want to tell you a couple of ththings of what I can do here directly. Again, most people won't do that, and they'll go like, whoa, okay, Tom came prepared. One thing I always tell people is like, this is just a first and foremost thing. Like, if you're feeling like frustrated about anything, I would always tell people like, to go outside and just like take a walk, and just like get away from it, because that energy is going to come off to the other people you're connecting with. So that's my first thing is hey, take a step back, walk around, you feel good about it, right? But also what I would do as well is the reason I'm recommending the different touch points like videos, video messages. I mean, you can also do GIFs and GIFs on LinkedIn too, is that gets you away from fatigue. So the reason we get fatigue on certain things is it becomes monotonous. We do them over and over and over again, and we're like, all right, like I'm getting bored. I'm getting tired of this. So the reason I'm telling you all to do these different things is obviously they're going to stand out and people are going to respond to them because it breaks through the noise. However, it breaks through your own pattern and it makes things exciting and engaging for you. Like I'm doing it because it's fun for me. It's going to be fun for them too, but it's also fun for me. So now I'm not bored. And now I'm not like, oh, I'm getting exhausted. I'm getting tired. Right. And another thing that I would recommend is just writing down what you want to accomplish per day with LinkedIn. Because when we accomplish tasks or we complete a goal, like that also gets us more excited to do more things. So maybe Carrot's like, hey, I'm going to reach out to 5 people on LinkedIn today, and I'm going to do 5 videos, and I'm going to research 5 companies I really want to go work for, right? And so when you do that check mark on things, it has a sense of accomplishment with it, which is why I do a lot of journaling and gratefulness in the morning, because I want to be able to see, okay, like what am I doing today? What am I grateful for? And it gets you in a different perspective in terms of mindset. So that's how you get away from the LinkedIn fatigue, is not doing the same things over and over again, like trying out different things and doing new things. So it's exciting for you and you don't feel like you're overwhelmed.